The movie is based on true events that happened in Georgia in 1985. The movie begins on a malfunctioning plane filled with bricks of cocaine. Despite his predicament, the smuggler on board is unconcerned, even dancing while sticking bricks in several duffel bags, and throws them out to salvage what he can while preparing to parachute out. Unfortunately, he hits his head, hard, on the way out, and falls. The smuggler was later found dead. The next scene shows two hikers in Chattahoochee National Forest in Georgia, who are lovers named Olaf and Elsa, hiking happily through the forest. When they reach the summit, they see the bear in the distance, and are excited about seeing one for the first time until Olaf sees it through the camera lens, behaving unusually. Although the hikers are charmed by the bear's unusual behavior, they get scared quickly when the bear notices them and approaches them in an aggressive fashion. Afraid, Olaf tries to advise Elsa that people shouldn't flee from black bears, but she's overtaken by fear and runs off. As they run, Olaf falls, prompting Elsa to stop and look back. The bear quickly jumps on Elsa and rips her apart in front of a despondent Olaf, who can do nothing but to look at Elsa being ripped in horror. Luckily for Olaf, the bear is enchanted by a passing butterfly, leaving a horrified Olaf alone. In Knoxville, a detective named Bob and his colleague Reba investigate the smuggler's death. Bob identifies the dead man as Andrew Thornton II, a guy of drug kingpin Sid White. They find out the dead man carries around 70 pounds of cocaine, but the wrecked plane is empty. Bob tells Reba that the remaining cocaine is out there somewhere. Meanwhile, Sid meets with his fixer David and says he needs him to investigate the plane crash and recover the unaccounted drugs. He says that the suspected location of the drugs is a part of Chattahoochee Forest called Blood Mountain. Sid added that when the plane was going to crash, the pilots were supposed to drop the drugs at that specific location. He wants David to take his son Eddie as well. Eddie is taking the recent death of his wife very hard, and Sid hopes that this journey will help Eddie get straightened out. Before leaving for her night shift as a nurse, Sari, a single mom who lives near the forest, talks to her young teenage daughter Dee Dee. Sari had planned to take Dee Dee to the forest that weekend to paint the waterfall, but she tells her daughter that she instead wants to take Dee Dee to Nashville for the weekend along with her new boyfriend. Dee Dee says it's okay but seems unhappy. Later that night, Eddie is spotted intoxicated in a bar, mourning for his late wife. David tries to cheer up his compatriot but is unsuccessful. As Eddie sees the news about the plane crash, he asks David if it is theirs, loud enough for the nearby man to hear. The following day, Dee Dee skips school to go to the forest with her best friend Henry, so she can paint the falls anyways. Meanwhile, after being tipped off by a trucker who overheard Davy and Eddie talking about the plane crash, Bob decides to go to the forest to investigate. He leaves his new dog with his colleague Reba for the forest. Later, Sari returns home from her night shift work, expecting her daughter to be at school. As she prepared to sleep, she was startled by the loud telephone ringing. Dee Dee's school informs Sari that Dee Dee is absent. She tries calling her ex-husband's home to ask if Dee Dee is there, but her ex's current partner tells her that Dee Dee has not been there. Based on the map she finds in Dee Dee's belongings, Sari deduces Dee Dee must have snuck off to the forest and gone to the waterfalls. Sari wasted no time and left to look for Dee Dee. Meanwhile, Forest Ranger Liz is putting on lipstick and fancy perfume in anticipation of seeing local wildlife expert Peter. As she hears someone coming in, Liz, while smoking, walks into the gift shop she's in charge of and finds a local teenage punk nicknamed Vest, who is shoplifting at the time. Liz instructed Vest to show his pockets, but Vest is able to sweet-talk his way out of trouble by complimenting Liz's perfume. Liz is flattered and even gives Vest candy. Liz notices Peter arriving, and she hurriedly puts out the cigarette. As Peter enters the shop, he smells something. Liz and Vest think it is the fancy perfume he is smelling, but Peter smells someone smoking. Liz then blatantly accused Vest of smoking, even advising him that smoking is terrible while pushing him out of the shop. Back in the forest, while going down the path, Dee Dee and Henry find a brick of cocaine. The kids get curious and open it up. They tried eating it, but they spit it right away, not liking its taste. As they looked around, they found another brick of cocaine already open. Attracted to the smell of cocaine, the bear emerges from the woods. Dee Dee tells Henry that the bear consumes the cocaine as its face is full of powder from the cocaine. Henry then tells Dee Dee not to move a muscle. But the bear sneezes, spraying powder on the kids' faces, which terrifies both of them. They quickly turn around and run, and the bear chases after them. Sari goes to the ranger station to ask for help, interrupting Liz's flirtations with Peter. Liz tries to chase Sari off. Sari asks them instead if they can point the direction towards Blood Mountain, but Peter tells her they are going there themselves. Sari asks if she can tag along. Liz tells Peter that Sari might be a burden in their wildlife inspection process, but Peter still agrees to help Sari, and the three go off into the woods. David and Eddie make it to the forest, and they stop so David can use the restroom. The gang of teens, Vest, Ponytail, and Kid walk in on David and try to mug him. David beats up the kids badly, although one of them manages to lightly stab him in the shoulder during the fight. Eddie follows David into the restroom asking why he is taking so long. Eddie finds David attending to his wound. Eddie then finds one of the teens carrying a brick of cocaine. They revive Kid to ask about the cocaine. Kid, being threatened, admits that they found a duffel bag full of bricks and hid it at a pavilion in the forest, planning to get it at night so they could sell it themselves. David threatens Kid until he agrees to lead the gangsters to the pavilion. As Liz, Peter, and Sari go through the forest, Sari sees some food on the ground, suspecting it to be Dee Dee's food she prepared. While Liz and Peter continue their flirting, Sari keeps calling for Dee Dee. They then hear Henry calling for Sari. They see Henry hiding in a tree and claiming a bear attacked him and Dee Dee. Liz and Peter did not believe his claims. Sari asks Peter about Dee Dee, and Henry tells her that the monster took her. While Liz and Peter urge Henry to get down, they hear a noise from behind them. Out of nowhere, Peter is pulled away by the bear. Luckily, he is not hurt. Liz pulls out his gun and keeps shooting in Peter's direction. Luckily, Peter is not hit. As Peter crawls for safety, he face-planted himself into an opened-up brick of cocaine. Unaware, the bear then shows behind Liz and mauls her, taking a bite out of her butt, almost hitting Sari when she accidentally fires her gun. Sari manages to hide behind Henry's tree while Peter climbs another tree. Liz limps off to get some help at the ranger station, abandoning everyone else. The wildlife expert accuses Henry of feeding cocaine to the bear, which he denies. Sari is startled when the bear appears behind her hiding tree to climb it and get to Henry. Henry climbs higher to escape as the bear gets closer, even kicking the bear's face. When the bear almost reaches Henry, it smells the cocaine on Peter. It ignores the child and climbs down Henry's tree to run over to Peter's tree. It climbs Peter's tree and rips Peter apart, giving Henry enough time to climb down to Sari, and the two run deeper into the forest. As they stop to hide and rest, Henry tells Sari that even though Peter is a bear expert, Peter does not know that the said bear is the cocaine bear. Henry went on and narrated what had happened earlier. Henry says that he saw the bear drag Dee Dee away but that she was still alive when he last saw her. They then start heading in the direction where Dee Dee was taken to. Liz makes it back to the ranger station, where she finds Vest and Ponytail. She instructs Ponytail to call the ambulance, to which Ponytail responds that he already did. Discovering that the teens ransacked the gift shop, she threatens Ponytail with his gun, blaming them for her not being promoted. But the bear soon shows up at the cabin. Liz tells Ponytail to open the front door so she can shoot it. Ponytail hesitates as he does not know what actually happens to Liz. When Ponytail opens the door, he is amused to see a bear sitting on the front door. Being injured, and a terrible shot, Liz accidentally shoots Ponytail in the head and kills him instantly. The bear runs and seems threatened by the gunshot. Vest is horrified, but Liz is more concerned with the bear than the fact that he just killed someone. Liz instructed Vest to close the door. A moment later, the bear breaks the glass portion of the door, catching Vest's face with its claws. Bob arrives at the ranger station. He is near the gift shop but did not notice the commission inside. Meanwhile, Sari and Henry find a trail of paint that Dee Dee kept dumping out of her backpack while she was being dragged off so that rescuers may be able to follow and find her. Sari compliments her daughter for being smart. Two ambulance drivers, male and female, arrive at the ranger station, forcing their way in to find Ponytail dead on the floor and blocking the door. They express their surprise since what was reported was only a concussion. The female EMT goes to Liz, barely conscious on the floor, and the other opens the door to a closet where blood is seeping out. The male EMT finds the bear gnawing on Vest's decapitated head inside the closet. The bear lunges on him and pins him under the closet door. The female EMT manages to drag Liz onto a gurney and into the ambulance. She then starts the ambulance, getting ready to escape. The male EMT manages to distract the bear's attention away from him, giving him a chance to run and jump in just as the ambulance leaves. The bear pursues the ambulance, and the male EMT is unable to close the doors of the speeding vehicle. Liz shoots at the bear but misses every shot. The bear manages to jump into the ambulance. It rips the second EMT apart and knocks Liz's gurney out of the ambulance, where she is crushed on the road. The first EMT panics and drives into a tree. Since she didn't have time to buckle up, she flies out of the windshield to her death. The dazed bear wanders back into the forest. Kid and Eddie bond on the way to the pavilion, with Kid helping Eddie find a measure of closure about his dead wife. Bob arrives first at the pavilion. He accidentally finds the duffel bag of cocaine hidden on the pavilion's roof and begins trying to find a way onto the roof. Meanwhile, an unseen gunman also arrives at the forest. Later, David, Eddie, and Kid arrive at the pavilion, but the duffel bag is gone. As David threatens Kid with a gun, Bob ambushes them, who is stuck on the pavilion's roof with the duffel bag of cocaine. He climbed a tree and jumped onto the roof of the pavilion but has no way to get off. The gangsters and the detective get into an argument, and when David goes for his gun, Bob shoots at him and knocks off two of David's fingers. Kid notes how the hell Bob made that shot. knocking two fingers that are not next to each other with one shot. David manages to get his gun and hides inside the pavilion. Bob, unable to see David, diverts his attention to the remaining two. He instructed them to be on their bellies before David asked Eddie to keep his detached fingers. Moments later, the bear suddenly appears. The bear gets near Kid and Eddie pretending to be dead. The bear suddenly collapses above Eddie, pinning him under. Meanwhile, Dee Dee awakens in the bear's cave with an injured leg. The next scene shows Henry and Sari bumping into a mournful Olaf, who tells them about the devil bear who killed Elsa. Sari then asks him if he saw Dee Dee, to which he responds positively. He then agreed to take them to where the bear brought Dee Dee. Back at the pavilion, David is forced to come out from hiding to help Eddie up. Moments later, the bear wakes up and eats a brick of cocaine before them. It begins menacing everyone on the ground, even toying with Eddie. Bob takes a brick of cocaine, opens it up, and scatters it to distract the bear. Bob then throws a brick into the woods, so the bear chases after it. Kid runs away, but the rest stay. Suddenly, Bob is shot by the mystery assailant. Sid shows up and reveals himself as the shooter. Eddie and David run away from the pavilion, running into Sid. David and Eddie tell Sid about the bear consuming most of the cocaine. Sid then tells Eddie that his connections will kill them for losing so much cocaine, regardless of the fact that it was an accident. They make their way back to the pavilion, meeting with Bob. Sid then asks about the duffel bag, but Bob tells him that he gave it to the bear. Reba suddenly shows up, and Bob thinks Reba is there to help him. But Reba reveals that she is secretly working for Sid. Sid forced Bob to tell where the bear went after threatening to kill his dog Rosette, which Reba left in her car. The group then left, leaving Bob to die. The next scene shows the bear dragging the duffel bag of cocaine. Olaf manages to bring Sari and Henry to the bear cave, but he is so frightened to go inside. Sari and Henry go inside, reuniting with Dee Dee, who is with two bear cubs eating cocaine out of a duffel bag and looking like polar bears as cocaine is all over them. After having a heartwarming reunion, they hear a commotion at the front of the cave. Assuming it is the bear, they follow the cubs out of a back entrance. The back entrance dead ends on a cliff behind the waterfall. At the cave's entrance, the gang led by Sid arrives. David tries to persuade Sid, who is afraid of the bear, citing what they saw earlier. It is then revealed that Olaf was killed by the bear. But Sid did not listen. They go inside the cave and see bricks of cocaine. Sid plans to move forward to recover more of the cocaine, but Reba wants to go back. Sid wanted to shoot Reba as she was going back, but David got between them, letting Reba escape. The gangsters find a duffel bag hanging above everyone's reach at the waterfall. They then see Sari and the kids hiding in the corner. Eddie and David try to get the bag, but it's stuck. Sari pleads to let them go, but Sid won't let them. He even threatens to kill them. David and Eddie finally stand up to Sid while the two bear cubs attack Sid. Annoyed, he orders his two guys to shoot the cubs as he cannot shoot them himself as he is carrying a rifle. But Eddie disobeys his order. He then orders David, throwing his own rifle for David to use, but Sari instead catches it. Eddie persuades him, but Sid rebuts, disowning him as his son. Getting mad, Henry stands for Eddie and scolds Sid, citing that Sid caused all of this. Henry also adds that it is a good thing that Eddie is not like him. Before the standoff is resolved, the bear returns and attacks. Sari grabs the kids and jumps off the cliff into the water below. Eddie and David follow soon after, although David is grazed by a bullet when Sid shoots at the bear. Sid shoots the bear several times and it seemingly dies. However, as Sid tries to collect the bricks of cocaine himself, he tears open a bag. The cocaine falls onto the bear and revives it. The bear claws open Sid's stomach and the cubs eat out his intestines. All the others survive the waterfall jump, and Sari, a nurse, patches up David. They return to the ranger station to find Reba waiting there. She tells them all to get out of there, and she will cover their tracks. Reba also gives Bob's dog to Eddie, who vows to live a better life and raise the dog. David appreciates having an animal not addicted to cocaine. As Sari and the kids walk off, Dee Dee says she's now happy to go to Nashville with her mother and her mother's new boyfriend. The film ends with unseen hikers photographing the bear and her cubs. The three bears notice the hikers and attack,